Hi again. So, as I mentioned in the last lecture, a great deal of Season 6A is about how we come to be alienated from our labor and the role that capitalism plays in this alienation and in the exploitation of people. There are all sorts of examples sprinkled throughout Season 6A. Some of them get a big focus and some of them are just tossed off of how this alienation works. So, for example, we see the Hollywood assistants who go on strike, who complain about being alienated. We spend a long time on Whitewater, the company, and its attempt to vertically integrate, to buy up all of the other companies underneath it and change what they do. We see the commodification of identity in the form, at least, of Mr. Peanut Butter, who gets paid to be the face of depression. We see the massive organ bank in which people's body parts literally become commodities that they don't control, and so on. There's just an enormous number of discussions about and jokes about and plot lines about capitalism and the way that capitalism produces alienation and exploitation in this season. To understand what's going on here, I actually want to back up and do a little bit more lecturing about one of the outside readings that I gave you than I normally do. I want to talk about Marx and his theory of capitalism and exploitation and alienation, which is what's being drawn on here to a large extent. I had you read Wage, Labor, and Capitalism. It's a short work. It's relatively comprehensible. So, and it's a nice sort of introduction and summary of Marx's basic theory of capitalism. So, Marx was the first one to really outline how capitalism works as a general system cut free from anybody's particular intentions in the post-industrial revolution age. What is the basic capitalist social system? Well, what you have is raw materials, which could be anything from a natural resource like gold to ideas to anything else, materials to which we add labor, and the labor transforms those materials into something that is worth more, is more valuable than the original materials, right? So if you take raw gold and through labor you make it into jewelry, then the jewelry is now worth more than the original gold was. The idea is, what you want is to have, my cat is scratching at the door. Excuse me, I'm going to let the cat photobomb. This is Cube. She's going to be visiting for a while. Anyhow, sorry. Okay, so the idea is a capitalist company makes a profit if it can sell the product it makes for more than the cost of the original material plus the labor. So what it needs to do is find ways of keeping the cost of the original material and the labor low enough that it will manage to make a product off of its products. The value of its products depends on supply and demand, right? The more people want it and the less of it there is, the higher the price will go. So the value of the product does not depend directly on the price of the raw material and the price of the labor. So what you want is as big of a differential as possible between those two things. You want your product to be very sought after and hence very expensive, and you want the cost of producing it, which is the cost of the labor plus the cost of the materials, to be low. That's just built into what it is to have a capitalist business that is going to make a product, right? What this means is that there are going to be two basic classes in society, according to Marx. There's going to be the capitalists,